Throughout World of Warcraft's life, there has been a mythical location in the game called GM Island. This is a place that is not supposed to be accessed by any player and is only for GMs, as the name would suggest. However, GM Island is a bit weird. So most of you watching this have heard or seen pictures or videos of GM Island. It is a fascinating location in WoW that is basically out of bounds, like way out of bounds in the northwestern part of Kalimdor. So the only way that you could access there is by doing glitches, exploits, and hacking. And many players did in order to get to this location, only to be shortly banned after. The interesting thing with GM Island is that it was built with a purpose that has never really been disclosed to us players, and supposedly only GMs in the early versions of WoW in the early 2000s even knew what this place was even for. The island itself is pretty tiny. It's just a Stormwind building that is on a small island. Surrounding it there are some strange things. But before we get into the strangeness of the island, the building itself is pretty empty. There is a mailbox outside, which is kind of hilarious. So theoretically, GMs in the early version of WoW, they would go to this mailbox to send mail to a player, and they had no other in-game console to do it. They had to go to a physical mailbox on this island. Inside the building itself, it's not much to say. There is like a bunch of chairs that is in like a circle, so I guess GMs at some point would sit around this and discuss their day. I don't know. Now, the interesting thing about this island is that, yeah, it's in the middle of nowhere, but there is actually a boat model that is in the game that is going to the pier to this island. There's also a graveyard. Like, why is there a graveyard in GM Island? Like, what is that for? Some theories are this is signifying GMs that have died. Like, at the time of this island's creation, there may have been some GMs that died or people on the staff, and they created gravestones signifying that. That, or these are signifying players that have been banned. Your guess is as good as mine. Whichever employee at Blizzard at the time made GM Island made sure to put in a graveyard. Like, there is a graveyard. But by far the most interesting aspect to GM Island is that there is a secret within this secret island. If you go out of bounds and into the mountain that is beside the building, there is an interrogation chamber with blank featureless walls with a chair in the middle. There is no way for a player to normally access this without using some out of bounds exploit to access this location. Then again, if you came all the way to GM Island and used the glitches and hacks to arrive here, what's one more glitch, really? Like, you're probably gonna get banned anyway. So why not go into the secret interrogation chamber? The interrogation chamber has been theorized to be in the early development of WoW to be a place for GMs to teleport players that have been behaving badly or breaking the terms of service to this location to be interrogated by a GM sitting in front of them, or the player is sitting in the chair, but either way they're being interrogated by a GM in the blue robes. Like, can you imagine doing some glitch, getting caught, then just being teleported to this place, and there's like a GM in their blue robes grilling you on what you've done? Another theoretical way that this could be used is, what if this is the place to put players that are supposed to be banned? Like, instead of giving like a 24-hour suspension, you keep them in the interrogation chamber for 24 hours and then let them out, along with other players theoretically. So that'd be kind of fun, actually. But I think it's kind of cute that Blizzard would even think that they would be role-playing out banning people and interrogating them in the interrogation chamber. I suppose it's a sign of the times when this was developed, which was like the early 2000s. The economy was a lot more robust, and it was a lot cheaper for companies to hire staff where this would even be possible. Depressingly, now these days with inflation and the gap between cost of living and average income, corporate red tape, like the idea that a company like Blizzard would bother to hire human staff to interrogate players that have broken the rules like this is just unbelievable today, but hey, the economy was a bit better back then. But the weird thing with GM Island is that this is even a thing to begin with. Like, the whole idea that this is a place that you're not supposed to go to, don't come here, guys, this is for GMs only, don't go to this location, and expecting players not to go through hell and back to get there and check out what the fuss is about is a bit naive on Blizzard's part. GM Island was a prime example of the Streisand effect, where players would know they're not supposed to go to GM Island, knowingly break the rules to go there, and knowing that their characters are going to get banned by arriving to this location. Yet they still went anyway because, I mean, what else are you gonna do? Like, if there's a big red button, someone demands you do not press the button, inevitably you're going to wonder what happens if you press the big red button. So sure enough, loads of players, there's many videos on YouTube about players going here and getting banned or just getting suspended. The whole thing just invites you to go. In the early patches of World of Warcraft, you could add a GM and you would occasionally see that GM go to GM Island and it would show next to their name. So Blizzard kind of advertised it inadvertently. The only comments that Blizzard has given about GM Island has been none whatsoever. Like, they're radio silence. Like, they haven't explained what this place is for, why this is in the game and exists in the game files. The only confirmation that is official from Blizzard that this is a place is one time on the Blizzard Europe careers page, there was a troll with the GM robes and a GM Island in the background. That's it. That's the only confirmation we've had from Blizzard that this is a real place. GM Island is a interesting, bittersweet time capsule. Blizzard was not Activision Blizzard when the economy could afford hiring GMs and having a human touch to Blizzard, where you could add a GM to your friends list, you could chat to them, you could see them walking around in game with their GM armor, they would teleport you to locations and theoretically teleport you to the interrogation chamber if you'd done something naughty. The whole idea was GMs were with us players. There was a human touch to it, and a lot of people have been speculating as to what even happened to the GMs. Like, where have they gone? Why do you never see any GMs anymore? And the sad answer is, it's no longer profitable to hire people like that. And this is a trend going on throughout the world. Like, you see cashiers get replaced by automated checkout. If you try to get customer support on anything, like, it's buried in tiny font at the bottom of a web page. The job market isn't what it used to be in the early 2000s. It's a interesting blast to the past where Blizzard obviously had a bit of sense of humor and a human touch that some people say Blizzard is lacking today. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, drop a like and subscribe for more.